Find your vision. Unlock your potential. Connect and create. Visit iaminternationalmedia.org.
Europe on fire. Major fires and mass evacuations. Thousands have already been evacuated, lives have been lost, homes and forests have been destroyed, and firefighters remain on the front line. While not unusual, wildfires in Europe are being supercharged by extremely hot and dry weather, which creates the perfect conditions for fires to form and spread rapidly. According to data published on August 13 by the European Forest Fire Information (EFIS) system, 439,568 hectares have already burned in EU countries since the start of 2025, an area larger than Luxembourg. It is much higher than the 188,643 hectares affected during the same 8-month period last year and more than double the average for this time over the past 19 years, 2006 to 2024, which stood at 218,417 hectares. From France and Spain to Greece, Croatia, Germany, and the United Kingdom, firefighters are battling blazes that have destroyed homes, threatened tourist resorts, and forced residents and holidaymakers to put Europe on track for its worst wildfire season on record. Spain, Portugal hit hard. Spain is currently battling 20 major wildfires as a heatwave affecting the country shows no signs of abating. Authorities deployed 1,900 soldiers to battle the fires, 12 of which are affecting the northwestern region of Galicia. Temperatures exceeded 44 degrees in several parts of the country this weekend as authorities warned of a very high risk of fires across practically the entire country. There are still some challenging days ahead, and unfortunately, the weather is not on our side, Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez said at a news conference. Spain is confronting major fires in several regions, including Huelva and Aragon. Fire in Huelva had already burned around 31,000 hectares, while approximately 700 people were displaced. Firefighting aircraft have been working extensively to contain the flames. The scale of the fires has also raised concerns about protecting historic buildings, cultural treasures, and agricultural land. Portugal. Neighboring Portugal deployed more than 5,000 firefighters as wildfires swept through northern and central regions. The burnt forest area in the country this year is already 17 times higher than in 2024. European wildfires generated 14.11 million tons of carbon dioxide emissions, compared to 9.59 million tons during the same period in 2024, according to EFIS data. France has been among the countries hardest hit by the current wildfire crisis. Prolonged heat and exceptionally dry conditions have left forests and vegetation extremely vulnerable to fire. In the Landes region, firefighters have been fighting major blazes, while 525 residents were evacuated from Luglan as flames threatened communities. France has also experienced an extended heat wave, with temperatures exceeding 40 degrees Celsius in some areas. Earlier fires in southwestern France caused an even larger evacuation, with reports indicating that more than 220,000 people were evacuated during the major Gironde fires. More than 42,000 hectares were destroyed in that disaster. Croatia. In Croatia, fire hits tourist town. A fast-moving wildfire struck the coastal tourist town of Omiš, forcing roughly 1,000 to 1,200 people to evacuate. The flames spread rapidly through dry vegetation and were pushed by strong winds. At least one person was killed and dozens were injured. Homes and vegetation were destroyed, while emergency shelters were established along the coast. The fire came during the peak tourist season, adding another layer of difficulty for authorities trying to evacuate residents and visitors. Greece. In Greece, tourists flee by sea. Greece has also been battling multiple wildfires. In the resort town of Siviri in northern Greece, hundreds of people were evacuated as flames approached the area. More than 250 people were reportedly taken away from the danger zone by sea as strong winds helped spread the fire. Authorities reported dozens of fires within a 24-hour period, with several remaining uncontrolled. The combination of high temperatures, dry vegetation, and powerful winds made firefighting particularly difficult. Germany and the United Kingdom also affected. Wildfires are not limited to southern Europe. In Germany, a major forest fire near the Hürtgen forest forced the evacuation of the village of Guy, with the presence of unexploded Second World War ordnance making firefighting operations particularly challenging. The United Kingdom has also experienced serious grass and woodland fires. Britain recorded 38.1 degrees Celsius, its hottest day of 2026 so far, while fires in England damaged homes and forced residents to leave affected areas. Why are the fires spreading so quickly? Experts point to a dangerous combination of extreme heat, prolonged drought, dry vegetation, and strong winds. The European Commission's Joint Research Centre says drought conditions have continued to deteriorate, following poor rainfall and repeated heat waves. Several major European rivers, including the Loire, Po, Rhine and Danube, reached exceptionally low levels in August. These conditions effectively turn forests and grasslands into highly flammable fuel. Once a fire starts, strong winds can push flames rapidly toward populated areas. Scientists also say climate change is increasing the conditions that allow extreme wildfire events to develop, including longer and more intense periods of heat and drought. Europe mobilizes emergency resources. The crisis has required cooperation between European countries. The European Union has deployed firefighting aircraft, helicopters, firefighters, and other resources through its emergency response mechanisms. In July, the EU sent aircraft and personnel to assist France and Spain as major fires overwhelmed local resources. The continuing fires are putting enormous pressure on firefighters, emergency services, and local communities. A growing climate warning. The current wildfire crisis is more than a summer disaster. As temperatures rise and drought becomes more severe, areas that previously experienced relatively low wildfire risk can also become vulnerable. Fire seasons are starting earlier in some regions, lasting longer and producing increasingly intense fires. For thousands of people forced from their homes, however, the crisis is immediate: evacuations, destroyed property, dangerous smoke, and uncertainty about when they can safely return. However, Europe's extreme summer weather is moving beyond an environmental crisis, creating costly disruptions for businesses, governments, households, and economic growth. With extreme heat and drought continuing to create dangerous conditions, authorities are warning communities to remain vigilant and follow evacuation orders immediately when fires approach. The flames may eventually be brought under control. But Europe's wildfire crisis is becoming an increasingly serious challenge for the future. Thank you for your patience with us on this matter. Till next time, I am Suthish Edmund Nicholas, signing off.